to get, for example, extract the month from my sale time, which was a timestamp. And so I'm extracting the month from my sale time. So that would get me month-wise data and the sale ID. So select sale ID, comma, the month that sale was made. And we are naming that attribute as sale month from the table sales records, right? So basically we are getting the sale ID and the month. We don't care about the entire timestamp, just the month from as sale month and from sales record. And then we can use this entire query as part of a larger query, right? We can say that, group by month, count sale IDs, right? So essentially that would get us month-wise data for the number of sales for each month. But we can also use this particular thing. But the main thing is we can extract the month from our timestamp, or we can extract the year or the day or the date. Intervals. So intervals are essentially the differences between two dates, right? So if x and y are two date values, x minus y produces an interval, x plus y gives you the date after I amount of intervals, x minus I gives you the time before I amount of interval. So we can also specify fixed intervals like interval 1 week or interval 1 week in single quotes and things like that. So there is also certain things that we would want to know about this interval values as well. So let's say that the current date is February 20th, right? So if I say February 20th, let's see. If I say the current date is February 20th and I want to say interval 1 month, right? So in this scenario, what should be the next date? Should it be March 20th? Because February has 28 days, or should it add 30 days directly? So that should make it basically March 18th, right? So these considerations need to be made. So whenever we say that interval of 1 month or 1 week, we are just going to add the month or add the week, and your database is going to return March 20. So basically 1 month from now. That is similar to asking something like that. So do something 1 month from now, remind me 1 month from now, remind me 1 week from now, things like that. That also applies to other cases as well. But if we actually want to have the number of days, we can actually say interval 30 days. And in that scenario, February 20th would have an interval 30 days. So you would get March 18th. Right. So those are certain nuances of adding intervals to your number. Even the case for interval 1 day can be different, right? So for example, there is a difference between, and let me ask you this question. Would there be any difference between interval 1 day versus interval 24 hours? Would there be any difference between the two? Should there be a difference between them? Yes or no?
No.
Can you think of a case where it might be different? Imagine that tomorrow starts daylight savings time and you say that remind me a day from now, and it's 4 p.m. today, I would like to be reminded 4 p.m. tomorrow, right? So in that scenario, it would interval 1 day would maintain the daylight savings times and it would remind you at 4 p.m. However, if we set interval 24 hours, it would remind you exactly after 24 hours, and that would actually remind you at 6 p.m. or 2 p.m. or 3 p.m. or 5 p.m., right?
So with the interval 1 day, it would just be like plus or minus 1, right?
Plus or minus 1 to the day, not the
Yeah.
actual number of hours, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Any questions about this? Pretty simple stuff, right? I'm just going through these things. So imagine, let's have an example schema that has the event entries, right? Some event entries, maybe movies or whatever. Event entries. So we can have event IDs, integer as primary key, event type, varchar not null, event date is date, that is not null, and event description. So let's say that we want to write a query that would generate notices of upcoming events, right? So we can say select star from event where event date is greater than or equal to current date, right? And event date is less than or equal to current date plus interval 1 week, right? So get me all the events within this 1 week and then show me those events where we have that date, right? So that would give me all the events in the next week. And this particular query, if you can see that since it uses current date, this particular query would work anytime you run this, right? Depending upon your current date, it would just scan the next week and just give you the upcoming events for the next week. Okay. So if you remember that we used this particular syntax, that is event date greater than equals to current date and less than equals to something else. And we have seen an operation or an expression that does a similar thing, which was between, right? So we can also use between when we are working with dates. So essentially we can say select star from event where event date is between current date and current date plus interval plus 1. Okay. So one thing that we need to remember is your query will always see one value for your current date or current time, right? So what I mean by this is, let's say that you have a large enough query that takes several minutes to run. Let's say it's several minutes or maybe an hour to complete the entire process. And you have multiple current dates and time queries in your entire query. So if that is the scenario, you can imagine that the first time we actually run and that query, we start executing that query, we get a current date. Maybe it's a nested query or a sub query or things like that. We got the current date. And then at later, after maybe 3 or 4 minutes, we again see another current date. So if that is the scenario, always remember that your query would only see the first time it started running, and that would be the time of its current date and time. It will not reevaluate current time again and again, and that because that would mean weird things, right? Because how would you compute or how would you compare results for that? So essentially the first time you have a current date operation, that is the time that is recorded, and for all future current dates within that query, it is going to use that date and time instead of rerunning that query, even if it runs for an extended period of time, right? Okay. Let's see what's okay. I guess I'll stop now for today, and let's discuss the homework issues. And if you have any other questions, next class we will start with large object types and just cover some of other things that we need to finish. But yeah, okay. Let me stop.